Perfectly.
And including the attendees and everything, right?
Hope so.
Give a thumbs up if you can hear us, guys.
All right.
Awesome. All right, let's get it going. Ladies and gentlemen of DreamCon, thank you for joining us, and myself included, to this very occasional event with the Hidden Leaf crew as we present the virtual Q&A of the cast of Naruto Shippuden. Give a warm round of applause to all of you people here.
Yes.
I am your host, Dak Xavier Josiah of the ACMG Presents Talk Time Live podcast. During this time, we will learn more about the talented actors behind your favorite characters, and near the end of this the session, or sometime in between, we will allow you to ask questions. Everybody will be able to ask, well, not everybody, let me just put it this way. We will ask some questions, and we will let people talk and ask their favorite actor a question about the show. Before we get started, we have to ask that everybody keep it classy and respectful during this time of the live stream. If we find that there is any form of misconduct during the stream or the chat, we will waive our right to discontinue the stream, but I know everybody don't want to do that because everybody wants to have fun with our favorite ninjas. So
it's our job to be not classy, so you guys stay classy, okay?
You heard it from Sasuke himself. So
we'll balance them out.
also
open your chat.
Yes. If you don't mind, Jay.
All the users should open their chats.
Yes. Yep. If everybody can open their chat right now and just start contributing in and have a lot of fun with doing so. Also, I do want to point out that some of the cast members will be leaving and coming in sometimes due to obligations. So we will try to get them to talk about the series as quickly as possible. But I do have to point out that you may not be able to ask everybody a question. So do be aware of that. If you do get the opportunity to ask a question in our chat, to please make sure that it's only related to Naruto itself and the series itself. Nothing outside. We know these great talented people work on many other projects, but we are celebrating everything, all things Naruto right now. So with that said, let me introduce you to some of the cast that is here right now. I am going to start with Lady Mary Elizabeth, who is the director and the voice of Mei Tarami, and Kurenai Yuhai. How you doing, Mary?
I'm very good. Actually, I am a lady. I'm a lady of Scotland.
All right.
So that is actually appropriate. And not a reverend, I guess, but I can marry anybody if you're in California. So, many titles.
I'll hold you to that. Me and my wife are coming to see you.
Oh, seriously, yeah. I can renew vows or do whatever. Naruto-themed weddings, whatever you want.
Oh, be careful what you wish for.
Yes. Vegas.
Yeah, everyone's still trying to figure out who Rock Lee married. So,
That's true.
if you want to cough that up tonight.
Well, her and I was
she married.
We also have the one and only Brian Donovan, who is Rock Lee himself. Rock, how you doing?
Hey guys, nice. Yeah, sorry, my wife Temari is my moniker tonight, but it's only because I get flocked at my own home.
Change that,
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
She don't want him to.
Yeah. She won't let me touch it. Don't touch the Zoom.
Don't fall for that. He's gonna get you in trouble.
Yeah. Plus my two little boys, my 5 and 7-year-old, are crazy Rock Lee fans. So we try to do it just to fend them off a little bit, so I have a little peace in my own home. But anyway, I'm Brian Donovan. I play Rock Lee, and it's so great to see you guys. I mean, I think it lifts us all up during this crazy time. So we appreciate your fandom. We appreciate your loyalty to the show and your enthusiasm for this little event we have here. So thanks for putting this together. And I'm sorry we couldn't be there in person. I was actually supposed to do this one in person. So I was a little heartbroken when this one didn't go down. It was going to be Maile and I as our first one together. And but we'll make it happen. I think we're talking about next year too. So anyway, nice to meet everyone.
Awesome. Got to go next to my man, Tom Gibis. He is Shikamaru Nara himself, one of my favorite guests on my show. Oh, next to Molly. Tom, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out.
Absolutely. And let me go to one of my favorite couples, aside from Steve and Mary. I got to point that out, too.
But Steve isn't here, so.
No, Steve's passed out in the pool. He's coming.
Nice. So we have the one and only Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt, who also is Sasuke Yachiha, and Temari, actually. How you guys doing?
Good.
Okay.
Good. I changed my screen name so you guys would get it. Right. That's the OTP right there. Thank you guys for having us today. This is
It's really great to be here with you
it's
guys.
awesome to not just be quarantining.
And apologies if we hop up rapidly. We do have a 4-year-old currently watching things in the other room.
We just totally parked him in front of the TV like the worst parents
We
ever.
may have to just.
I got two of
The
those. Two of those
Exorcist or
beasts.
something.
What's the TV show of choice for that one right now?
At the moment, he's watching Chip and Potato.
On
Oh.
Netflix.
Sorry,
And-
apologies to you guys for all the shows.
Sorry,
we're
did
on,
anybody?
but-
I was gonna say, did anybody work on that? It's entirely possible some of you guys worked on that. I don't know.
So next we have one of two father figures to Naruto. We have Tony Oliver, who is Minato. How you doing, Tony?
Doing great. Thanks a lot. It's nice to be here. Thanks for everybody. This is actually the very first kind of Naruto thing I've ever been at.
Awesome.
That's except for like I stepped into a panel for like 5 minutes at one point. So I'm really thrilled to be here. So thanks everybody, and nice to meet you.
Pops.
I'm slowly but surely becoming anime's dad. So
Well, at least you're not the grandpa yet.
well, technically. Next, we have Quinton Flynn, who is also father figure. He's Ikura Sensei. How you doing, Quinton?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much, Dax. Thanks for having me here. It's great to see everybody. What a joy.
Absolutely. And last, but absolutely not least, we have my good friend, the Hokage herself, Lady Seventh, Maile Flanagan. Maile, what's going on?
Nothing. I'm just really thankful. I was really disappointed not to meet you guys in person, especially you, Destiny Smith. And I'm looking at all your names. Trinice Johnson and Land Party Podcast, Nate Richardson, Calvin Cyphone, and Shamar Wallace, and Soul Taishi.
Look at you doing a whole Wu-Tang Clan roll call right now. What is
And anyway, it's really nice to be here. I asked my friends to come on because we know it sucks. And you guys saved up all your money and made reservations and all this. But at least you don't have to wait in line for a panel.
This is true. This is
There
true.
are a lot less of you here than there would be at a normal panel. And this is the biggest Naruto panel we have ever done, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're all
So
pleased
you're
to be
all
here
part
as
of-
well.
Yeah, you're
And
all part of
Naruto-
history, just so you know. Yeah.
Naruto, if you're good, I'll give you some ramen.
You don't want any of his ramen. Trust me.
Oh,
Mary, I'm assuming that's Steve that you're having right now.
This is Steve finally got out of the pool. We haven't been doing a lot of grooming during quarantine. So, yeah.
wait, is he a gremlin?
Yeah, he is.
All that
Just
matters is
the-
that he can land on his feet. That's all.
Right.
Yeah, we're thinking of not adding water anytime soon. So
That's good.
July is coming, and who knows?
All right, so let's get down to some questions real quick. I'll ask some questions, and then sometime in the middle of this, I'll go to the people, our great people here on the chat, and then see what questions we come up with that. So, Maile, I'm gonna start you first.
Okay.
Take a listen to this. 14 years, 720 episodes, plus multiple movies and video games. When you hear that, what comes to your mind, especially when you talk about the landscape of this industry where people are working hard to get to this level as an actor?
I'm old. Mary Elizabeth and I used to joke in the booth way back when we started. Like after it went a year, 2 years, we kind of run it. I'd sometimes run into Tom, Yuri, Tara, whoever. And I never ran into Brian hardly ever, but or
Never.
Tony. For some reason, we all didn't cross paths much. But I'd be like, we're going to be old ladies doing this. And, cut to like almost 15 years, I think, later. Yeah, 15 years. But it's been a pleasure, and it's only grown, and that's because of people like you. And I'm looking at you guys, and I don't know what your ages are, but it's remarkable because like it spans all these generations, and now it's got a second wave, so it's kind of bigger than ever. You know what I mean? So talking to you, Jordan, pay attention. So it's been awesome, and it's been awesome working with all these people and seeing it put together. We work by ourselves, so getting to hear it, getting to see even virtually these guys.
Right. I want to follow that up with the mentions of all the accolades that you have for this show, and ask you, how in the world did you still have a voice after all this? I played your game. I played all the games. I heard the movies. All I hear, for the most part, is aggressive.
Yeah.
It's just total aggressive. Whether it's just like just subtle aggressiveness, or just like you just screaming out, ready to hit a shot, one of your moves or whatever.
Let's put it this way: when I come home, I don't speak like at all. Like I don't speak. And also when I go to sporting events, and I love sports, live ones, or concert, I'm just like this.
Maile, how many times do you think you said Rasengan?
Believe it! 1 million times. I've said Shadow Clone Jutsu, Rasengan. If I had like a nickel, I'd be like a millionaire for the times I've said Rasengan.
That is very true, because I was watching your show. I was watching the show right before I got on here. I'm like, damn, she really does say this a lot.
If you were so smart, Maile, you would have worked out in your contract to do this show for free, but for them to give you a nickel every time you said believe it, you actually have made more money.
I made more money.
They would have written down the line, believe it, the first episode. They would have gotten rid of it. They found a new catch.
That's right.
They're like, we're not paying her.
You would have cast Quinton.
But you know what's funny is that we never said believe it after episode 21, 22.
Right.
Like you never said it again, but still every con that Maile and I would go to is just like everybody would come up and say believe it. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
No,
I have bracelets made that say believe it, and at cons
No, it's funny. I was looking for that too in my office. I know I still have it from when you were in Philly.
But it's for donation, and it goes to a charity. So, but it's so funny. Everyone comes ask me to say believe it all the time.
What?
We have an addition to our room.
Oh, what do we have here?
Yes, Steve Blum has joined.
Another cat.
Steve Blum.
Where's Steve?
Jay, I think you have to unmute him if you don't mind.
Oh, he's on a separate. He's on a separate link.
Yes, let me. Yep.
He's attending as a fan.
There he is.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. Say believe it. Say believe it. Say believe it.
Believe it, Steve.
Naruto!
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh my goodness,
Orochimaru himself, Steve Blum. Give a warm welcome up.
Buddy? Oh, Yuri.
I love you, Steve.
Don't make me hungry.
Steve, how you doing?
I'm well. I'm sorry I'm tardy. I fell asleep in the pool.
Yeah, so we heard.
Nice.
Look, if you're gonna fall asleep, look, I don't blame you.
That's the place to do it.
Brian Jones fell asleep in a pool once.
Didn't turn out so well. Oh, wow.
So did William Shatner's wife. What?
Oh.
Hi. Who kills 2 wives?
Jesus.
Wow.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Jess Arnell's neighbor. What does that say about Jess?
So I got
Simmons. I couldn't help it.
So my next question is for Yuri. Yuri, Sasuke Uchiha. I'm sorry. I look at him, and he is absolutely Dylan McKay of Naruto. He is the bad boy. He is the the loner, if you will. In fact, when you really think about it, all of you, when you really think about it, Naruto is literally Ninja 90210.
Oh my God, it's so true. I've never thought about that, but you're right.
Ino is Donna.
Funny.
I looked at that and I'm like, yeah, that's real. But did you have a general idea as to how you wanted to portray him, or did you go by the guidelines of what the character portrayed in Japan?
Yeah, I mean, it was a mix. It was what I knew, which wasn't much. What I came to the table with, and
Which wasn't much.
And then just being Mary choke.
Sorry.
And then what Mary told me to do, basically.
Gotcha. So along with that, I mean, as we all know, Sasuke is like really a jaded character that has been through a lot of horror, like a lot of real horror right there. And what do you think? What were the things that you did in order to get into the mindset from a tormented character, starting from his youth to adulthood?
I did have to dig deep because I'm kind of a carefree, freewheeling guy, and Sasuke is not at all who I am in real life.
Well,
So,
denial.
Right, denial. No, really, he's not. But it was extra fun for me to go there because I'm not usually asked to go there. If you look at the characters that I played before,
right,
none of them were like that.
Right.
And everybody's got pain in there somewhere. Everybody's got sadness.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their dark place. And it I just had to go get some of that. And I wasn't used to doing that, so it was quite enlightening and super fun to do that.
Right. I'll move on to you, Tara. You play one of my favorite characters on the show. I mean, Temari is one of the strongest and strategic characters in the series, who would later become one of Gaara's most trusted and faithful guardians, as well as the love interest of Shikamaru. What I gotta say is, would you define Temari's growth and development in the series?
Well, I think one of the things that I love the most about her is that she really gets a chance to mature.
Mm-hmm.
So she starts out just sort of a young person with a little bit of a chip on her shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And she's able to grow into a woman who really clearly defines herself by what she chooses that she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very empowering. And I think it's very exciting to see. Oh,
And now we can see who's really in charge.
Yeah, right.
We watched.
Unlike Sasuke, who never matures at all.
Yeah, Sasuke didn't get up at all. He didn't even react.
I know.
If you could see how the chairs are set up here, I would literally have to ninja out of this chair to not.
Total Sasuke.
Is he on the show?
He matures. That was all I was saying.
Good. That's awesome. Yeah, we saw you become a mom.
I know.
How about that?
You've grown up so much.
And you become a dad, Brian.
Oh yeah, times two. Crazy.
There you go. Which I'll segue right into you, Brian, because that's my next question. Aside from Naruto, Rock Lee is not only a fun favorite character in the entire series, but he's also probably one of the most inspirational character and health-driven characters. I'm surprised there's not any gyms around in the country.
Yeah.
Any like
Leaf Hurricane,
right? Any
Hurricane gym,
right? Any otaku like Rock Lee gyms or whatever in the area.
Yeah, I blew it. I didn't invest in Zoom and I didn't invest in gyms.
I'm right there with you.
I could have branded them.
Not only that, you also had your own spinoff too. So like, how much fun did you have playing Rock?
It was a blast. I mean, my first call when I knew it was close is I called Tori Spelling and asked her how she thought Donna would play Rock Lee. So based on that, I kind of built on, the foundations of that. And then of course, Mary was instrumental in helping me sculpt and shape, Rock Lee. I mean, like Yuri said, Rock Lee is not who I am in these formalities, Right. I mean, I am a very, a lot of people think I grew up in California because I have that California twang and vibe. And
mm-hmm.
Rock Lee is not that at all. So, I mean, that was probably the most difficult, I think, challenge for me. And of course, there's no contractions. And so, and I speak very, very slang, loose. And so, yeah, it was, and I think Mary will attest, everyone was trying to figure out who Rock Lee was
right.
early on, like what, who's this guy going to be? And, but yeah, to answer your question about the inspiration, it's been a dream because I think in that way, and I speak a lot around the country for another reason with the documentary that I made, but I speak to that. I speak to perseverance and inspiration right. and working hard and believing in yourself. And so yeah, it's been a great joy, what Rock Lee represents. And it's been a nice synergy in my life, being able to use Rock Lee as that symbol.
Awesome.
And yeah.
Follow up on that. Following up with that, actually, what do you think is Rock's most appealing qualities for you?
I mean, you know, kind of what I just said. I mean, I think honestly, the fact that he believes in himself, or perseveres, I guess. I mean, you know, he's constantly got to be built up by a guy,
Right.
obviously. But yet, you know, his passion and just working through all those things and working extra hard and because look, I mean, life is hard. I mean, it's as Yuri kind of alluded to, you know, we all have that dark place because life, you know, can beat you up. And so I think Rock Lee's really relatable that way. And, you know, I can't tell you how many people have reached out or come up to me and said, you know, thank you so much. Rock Lee got me through high school or being bullied in grade school or, you know, and those things, I mean, that's so rewarding to think that a character that I had a small hand in can, you know, bolster a kid up like that and get him through some hard times. And so, yeah, I mean, for all those reasons, you know, I think, I mean, that's, you know, he's a shining star that way, you know.
Awesome. He really is. He really is. Like, I get inspired. I brought a Peloton because of Rock Lee.
Oh, I didn't even get to the brawn part. Oh yeah, I mean, look. I mean, I even channeled my.
Look at this.
Look
at this. Look at that.
It's
Welcome
all
to the
lighting,
gun
baby.
show.
It's all
Hey, yeah, I was
lighting.
gonna say
Douche.
That next to the window,
This is a Naruto convention, not a gun show.
Thank you, Yuri.
He just flashed out his card real quick.
Yeah, that's right. It's just from lifting kids up all day. So,
Big biceps. Yep.
yeah.
All right, got a license for those?
Only in Texas. Yeah, no, well, right now, I mean, my kids aren't even watching TV. They're doing 1,000 push-ups. So, Daddy taught them well.
Good dad?
Yeah, I'm a real inspiration to my own kids.
No,
Anyway.
definitely. Before I continue, shout out to Waves over there and Soul Tashe for rocking it. Good looking out. Good looking out. Represent. So I'm going to do one more question, but I'm going to have Jay ask some of the questions. So if you guys want a question for one of the or two of the actual actors, this is the time to start posting questions on chat right now. So I am going to go to, actually, let me see who I'm going to go to now. Steve, you're up. Are you out of the pool?
I am out of the pool.
All right.
He's in the river.
I see the
Apparently so. He couldn't get away from the water.
I'm a water baby. I can't help it.
So you played many roles where your voice is mostly rugged and, you know, also kind of rough and rugged at the same time and kind of swag. But
Sexy. No idea what you're talking about.
Look, you can say it. I can't. But no.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I actually can. Go ahead, sexy Steve.
Yes.
Yet, Orochimaru, he probably is a little bit more sinister and flamboyant with his voice. And it always gives me chills because it's kind of a slithery type of voice, which it does fit his format of his jutsu. So, there you go. Did you, was that the idea or were there other ideas for you to do a different type of voice for him?
That is my natural speaking voice. That's what landed me married.
Why you love him, Mary?
Diecast.
Better believe it.
Yeah, I'm exactly like Orochimaru. Like everybody was saying, I just did what Mary said. I had no idea what to do with that character from the very beginning. I looked at him, I thought he was really cool, but I didn't know what they wanted for it at all. And I wasn't even familiar with the series, so I just said, Madam Director, what would you like me to do? And she gave me a 75-minute explanation of
Is that what you still call her?
Yes.
Madam Director.
Madam Mary, yeah. Only when she's mad at me.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
If I can just interject, what I loved about Orochimaru is that we gave him such dynamic range. And I think all the characters, the more range we could give them vocally, the more interesting they were. All of them, everybody from Minato to Rock Lee to Shikamaru and Iruka Sensei, everybody had such an interesting and broad dynamic range but Orochimaru especially, because it was sort of that gentle thing. And then it got into that crazy, deep, scary, rumbly thing, which I always loved. And I loved pushing you to sort of stretch him dynamically to really scare. He's a scary guy, but he's seductive as well. So
that's the word I was looking for. That's There you go.
And that's why they are together.
Throwing up snakes is what really got her.
Look, you must have been doing
Not everybody can do that.
He must have been doing all of your work right for you to be in this status right now. So.
Apparently so. It only took me 21 years to land her, but it worked out.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
We had other things to do.
Yeah. Other stuff is going on. I'm busy.
But right now we're gonna go to some questions. We're gonna Jay, we're gonna give like about 3 questions right now. So give 3 of the best questions that you found.
They're all good. I'm looking at them right now. They're all good.
Yeah.
Rock Lee, wear boxers or briefs? Well,
I want to know.
he doesn't wear underwear.
He wears hidden leaves.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well
Hidden
done.
leaves, baby.
Wow.
Hidden
It's the best thing since the Emperor's New Clothing.
Oh.
Okay,
They're
so
hiding leaves. Actually, it's not hidden leaf. It's hiding leaves.
A little rough if it's poison oak.
Black Girls Anime asked if you could have picked who your character ended up dating or marrying, who would it be?
Oh, wow.
I like that one.
Sasuke. But I thought we already dated. I rebound back to Sasuke. That's in the 3rd part of the Naruto Shippuden series.
Haku for me.
Haku? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Well, Orochimaru, because I am gonna marry Orochimaru, so there you go.
Lucky.
I think we all know who Rock
He's
Lee
already
loved.
decided that Shikamaru and Temari should be together. So
yeah,
there you have it.
I mean,
I thought Minato had his relationship together until the stupid Ninetales showed up. So that
was... Should have went to the doctor for that little problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else we got, Jay?
So Getting Animated podcast asked, what's your funniest recording session? Just one out of the 700 plus. LOL.
This one right now, it's hilarious.
I wish we could play you some of the outtakes, but we can't because
they would all get fired and sent to jail.
They are
Oh
not.
yeah.
we used to leave gifts for each other. You know, Steve would leave things for Maile, and Maile wouldn't know about it, and Quinton would leave, and we would. So everybody, Crispin. I mean, we messed around a lot and left a lot of gifts.
Back when we used to have the printed scripts.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh no,
graffiti
but
written throughout.
Yeah, Mary was great with that when we'd be able to, ad-lib some stuff and leave it behind for the next actor or actress coming in the booth. Really fun, funny stuff. And, that's the best.
Because we preview everything in Japanese, right? So we'll preview Japanese, and then, all right, here we go in English. And then the English track, if anybody had recorded before, like the lead-in line to something Maile had done, you would hear the lead-in line in English, and then beep, 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 and Maile would talk. And that's when we would play the little gifts. The little gifts would be played.
But to sync also.
I've never done this before, but this is such a weird thing, and we kind of finished the show anyway, and I kind of don't care anymore. I have a little recording of something we did in the studio once.
Oh, really?
Have it there?
You think I don't know, can you guys see this if I show you it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly?
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Okay, let's see if
It's an exclusive.
Here's your exclusive. I'm gonna try to make this work, and hopefully my son can't hear.
She's horrified.
I know.
Don't worry, that kid doesn't need to go to college.
To find out what I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Steve left that for me, and then I called it back. So
you're welcome.
There are a lot of drawings in the scripts, and notes like Yuri would write like "you suck," and then various graffiti in the scripts. Let's call it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But Kate is the worst because Kate, who plays Sakura, She just writes whatever, like her kids' names or whatever that she got in her head, and she just writes them in script on the side like 1,000 times on over. And I'm like, well, Kate was in before me.
Yeah.
That's
She's
when you know
on
your
medication. On medication for that now.
Yeah.
She's being treated. That's why she's not here.
Kate, and she respectfully couldn't do it because she has 2 kids, and so she wanted to come, but she couldn't come.
No,
Brian's
got 2 kids.
Yeah, I held my tongue for that one, but I'm just saying, I love you guys more. Clearly. Clearly.
Hey, everybody's kid is different. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, that's right.
And there is the restraining order too.
From me and you.
Yes, from Maile.
Yeah.
Yes.
What number are you guys on? Okay, they're only in 700. They're only on push-up 700 something. So I still got a few more minutes.
Jeez. Jay, what's the last one that you got for now?
So okay, sorry, I was reading something from Jonathan. There's a mix of 2, so I'm gonna put them together from Land Party and also Lee and Richardson. What was your favorite arc for your character's development, or what scene pretty much gave you your character's development to you? What was that?
The entire run of the series.
Good answer. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
700 episodes.
Yeah, on episode 62, I felt like I was, really immature. In episode 123, I felt like I really took a turn. On episode 473, that's when I discovered that I actually had something down there. And then...
Hence the arc.
Yeah, it's the arc. Yeah.
Remember how we told you guys we would make up for the dirty part by...
Yeah. We got this. We got this. Yeah, now Rock Lee's on Viagra. So.
Also old, we're all on Viagra. Come on.
And that's what you call a filler episode.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well done. Well
played.
I went from a gym empire to a sexual dysfunction empire. So now, Rock Lee's got the whole spectrum covered.
You find that niche and you fill it, buddy.
Yeah. You gotta play to your strengths, man.
Well done, Rock Lee Epstein.
Yeah, I'm still persevering. Yeah.
So I got a couples question right now. There's only 2 tag teams. I see you in the hair, so this is up for you.
Okay.
Does actually being a couple help you better, or it hinders you while doing the show?
I was gonna say, is that fortune cookie?
I'll start with Yuri and Tara for that one.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I love working with Yuri. Any chance I get an opportunity to work with him, it makes me very happy. But I don't know that it impacts it at all, because when we're working on something like this, we're not recording together. And yes, of course, I can't help but know which character he plays.
Right.
But it doesn't really come into play with what happens to my character specifically. And so even though it's fun to know,
but because we both work on the show, we have a shorthand, so we don't need to explain things to each other. So like when I come home and I'm like, yeah, I had to work with Mary again, she totally gets why that sucked.
I get him a drink and some ice for his head.
Right.
Nice.
And Steve and Mary, what about you? Are there any advantages to you guys working together?
Oh, sure. We weren't a couple back then.
We weren't a couple back then.
Yeah.
Oh, you were just leading your way. How was it?
Yeah. I was just stalking him. I was just like, we need an Orochimaru. See Blum. But I've been stalking him since Cowboy Bebop, so it's been a long time.
I had no
Look,
idea.
when it's all about Spike. Spike does that to people, I hear. So.
Done that to me.
Exactly.
We got to get questions for Tony, because he has to leave early, right?
No, actually, I'm here till 6.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out, from RDC we have John, Ath, and Desmond. I know they are for you guys, but from RDC, we're
thanks for inviting us.
Hey, how you been?
We'll see you next year.
Thank you.
Yeah. You said what?
Thanks for inviting us. We'll see you next year.
Okay. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm glad y'all can come, actually. So
yeah.
A lot of us in here, so I'm just gonna start with these 2 guys here, and I'm gonna go upstairs as well. But we just had a few questions ourselves for you guys. Really, I know maybe some of the fans might have some questions, but we might have some good ones ourselves. Or I guess
Hey, go for it.
Yeah, sure. I guess you guys might be asked this question a lot, but my question would be, how long did it take for you to find your voice? Like, when did you realize that this is my particular voice that I'm into acting?
For me, I think it took it took a while. Like, I go back and look at the first episodes and I kind of cringe, which is a common thought, I think, for a lot of actors, maybe. Like, I didn't feel like I knew the character until, a couple dozen in. And really it grew and grew and grew, so, but I mean, I kind of did the voice when he was younger, but then as I was doing it, I got the character more.
Oh yeah.
I actually had the advantage of starting on the video game first. So, I mean, this was, I always joke that this was a 6-line part in a video game that turned into a 6-year gig, So by the time I got to the anime, I'd already kind of had, working with Mary, and we kind of had the chance to flesh out the two sides of him that you wanted, which was he was cool, but he was a dad too, and trying to play that balance, and then and making me not act. So you did a lot of that, which is great. It was great. It's fantastic. But so by the time I got to the anime, I actually kind of knew him. But everything that at least that I understood about the character, came from a 15-minute discussion with Mare, and then working through it in the first 20 or 30 lines of dialogue, and then coming back to another video game before it was like 2 video games and then the anime. So by the time I got to the anime, I really kind of knew him, and I had an affection for him and for Naruto and the relationship, and I kind of understood why the 9 tails and all of that stuff. Because I mean, come on, you steal your 9 tails and your kids, that's not a good thing. But at least I understood it by then, so I was able to play it a little more honestly. And so thank you, Mary. Yeah.
I mean, oh, sorry.
I just want to say it's a rare thing to be on a show where the characters grow. Like normally they'll just stay the same. So I'm really interested to hear what you all have to say, because everybody grew up. I mean, from basically high school or even grade school all the way up to adulthood and marriage and kids. And so as an actor,
I was dead.
I would, yeah. But it's just as an actor, I always think that that's a really interesting and wonderful challenge and a gift to be able to be on a show where you can actually grow up the character.
I mean, that was kind of what I was trying to talk about earlier, is this idea of a character that's maturing, that is age-weighted, that is owning their life as they're living it, and also having the ability to reflect back on their life that you, as the audience, have gotten to see, because it's not just things that happened to me before this particular story takes place. It's actually watching the characters go through the entire experience, which is very exciting.
And for a lot of the characters become better people, learning from their experiences and their horrible mistakes. Sasuke made so many mistakes. And got marginally better. So
but may we as people be able to do that as well. Like maybe we all get that opportunity to grow into better people than we were before. Whatever.
So did Dylan McKay.
Tori's questionable. Tori's questionable, but yeah.
That is true.
Well, I have to say, as Iruka Sensei, he had to put up with a lot of bullshit with these kids.
Yeah, he did.
Sorry.
But that's okay. He loved them just the same, and the story arc developed, and he became a father figure and a mentor. And so that's something I've found as I've gone to conventions over the years, young people coming up to me and saying, you're a role model as a father, as a mentor, and that's not something I knew was going to happen when this started. And as everyone has said before me, the back and forth between Mary has always made it work, because she's in a position of having to translate and create and make everything come together with us separately together, which is an amazing thing. So I know that as I grew with the character, he became more of me as I became more of him. That plus 2 bottles of gin and electroshock therapy. Or was it 3 bottles of gin? The electroshock therapy makes me forget. But anyway, it worked out.
What else you got, gentlemen?
Well,
Go ahead.
This is like very simple, but like I'm just curious, like, you know, with all of the voice acting you guys have done, like how does your family feel like hearing your voice on like a character? Is it like odd? Like I just imagine like seeing, you know, growing up watching SpongeBob and like associating that voice with SpongeBob, like, and then meeting them in person and being like, I can't unsee SpongeBob. Like, do you guys ever like when I saw, you know, when I hear Sasuke's voice, for example, or Naruto, it's like I just think automatically of that character. But like, how does like somebody that I guess knows you in real life, or like, is there any like feedback you guys gotten, or like when them watching the show because they knew you before Naruto? Like, is it weird, or I don't know if that makes sense.
My family doesn't watch the show. They've never watched the show. Literally, one of my sisters has watched it like 3 or 4 episodes. My mother, rest in peace, she passed a while ago, but she was like, I don't understand it. You know, and I was like, well, you're 80 years old.
Just like that.
Maybe you're not the target audience.
Yeah.
And my kids are grown; they don't care. But when they were young, I was living when Robotech first came out, was my first show. I was also doing a lot of radio commercials. So my voice is now all over television and all over radio where we were living. And my kids just absolutely could care less. Oh. But I'd also done a little video on the Jungle Book, and I had adapted the Jungle Book, and they were going to turn it into a little golden book. So I actually have a book that I wrote.
Oh wow, golden books! That take me back.
And so I was going through the galleys, and my son, who was about 5 or 6 at the time, or maybe 7, he comes in and he looks. He says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I wrote this book. I'm looking at it to make sure it's okay." And he looks at me and goes, "You're an author?" So that's what he thought was the cool thing. So my kids don't care. They don't care.
Yeah, it's my kid. I have a 5 and 7-year-old, so they're still trying to wrap their head around it. And they don't really. They know Daddy makes funny voices and does stuff, but they haven't really put it all together yet. But I will say, for other kids, what's been really kind of a nice little surprise gift, I suppose, is when I have some of my peers and they're going through rough times with their high schoolers or their teenagers. We know it's a very difficult time, especially with that parental relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, man. Rock Lee, something else. And they'll ask me, hey, you know, my son or my daughter loves it, or their friend loves it. Would you make a phone call or whatever? And it gives them so much street cred, and it's such a simple thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really gratifying because, you know, all of a sudden mom and dad are super hip again or cool because they know, you know, whatever, Rock Lee or something. And so that's been really cool. You know, and you do get that quite a bit, which is fun. And, you know, it takes 15 seconds and it changes their world, their relationship with their parent, you know, and so it's fun.
Awesome.
My kids thought I was an idiot until I started working on video games. Then they thought I was an idiot who made them cool.
You used to bring the boys to the sessions, honey.
I did. They thought it was fun, but didn't really understand what was going on when they were tiny.
Yeah.
Just like being in there around all the equipment. And both of them had a crush on Mary too, so.
Well, it worked out for everybody now, didn't it?
Yeah, it certainly did.
Wow.
My kid is 4, and so he doesn't quite get it either. But the thing that I think is cool about that is when I tell him, hey, buddy, Daddy's going to be Spider-Man today, I think he actually thinks that I'm Spider-Man.
Oh.
You're not?
He also has Spider-Man pajamas, and he's like, no, I'm Spider-Man.
Oh, right.
I'm like, anybody can wear the mask, dude.
There you go.
Yeah. That's right.
Nobody
Gentlemen, you got anything else?
Yuri Lowenthal. I do actually.
What you got?
Okay, so whenever y'all are, you know, y'all voice acting, when y'all like are screaming all that, like, how do you like maintain that, and how do you maintain y'all like emotions throughout the whole series? Because you have to have a certain emotion, you know, throughout the show in order for your voice to, you know, match it. So, like, I was just wondering, how do y'all like deal with that? Like, how do you do that?
I can answer that easily. Mary brandishes a whip. And he's a strict disciplinarian, so all she has to do is hold it up, and we act.
Yeah. No, I will pat Mary on the back though. I mean, she was instrumental for me. I mean, a lot of the voice actors are very, you know, they're they're classically trained, or a lot of voice actors come from a singing background, and I didn't really have that under my belt. I mean, to some degree, but certainly not to a lot of them. And so Mary was really instrumental on kind of guiding me through sessions, and especially for the yells and screams, and and reminding me of some tricks, and also just back to that question about the character and the development that way. Yeah, non-director, and you rely on the director a lot, especially when you're in the early days when you are trying to figure out the character. Yeah, where your character. And she was phenomenal that way, but also with protecting the actor's voice. And it's it's a very real thing. And even for the best of us, if you got a 4-hour session and you're yelling and screaming, it's a very real thing. And a lot of actors and actresses have walked out of a session with some bloody cords. But so you have to be careful. And like Miley said, I literally get in my car sometimes after a session, and I don't play the radio anymore. I don't play music anymore. Like I just want complete and utter quiet and serenity, but yeah, anyway.
And to answer the question, it's about breathing. You breathe right. You have to place the voice right. You have to hydrate. You're drinking water all the time. You have to insist on breaks as an actor, because otherwise they'll just work you to death. But you have to insist on at least 5 or 10 minutes every hour.
You're a director too, so it makes us.
I don't actually. I'm very much being a voice actor myself. I'm very much protective of my actors' voices. And in fact, I was 10 lines into a session yesterday with an actor. I could hear the tearing happening in his voice, and I stopped the session.
Wow.
Go home, heal. We'll come back next week. We can, there's no show worth losing your voice over, because this is your means of living, and so you can't lose that.
10 lines. My God, I don't even think I've gotten past 3. 10?
Very short sessions with Brian.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Oh, and ask Mary. Oh, sorry. Go.
Really quick, Jay has an announcement that she put it in the chat, but I'm not sure everybody's looking at the chat.
Yeah. So thank you, of course, everyone, for coming. We are extending this by an additional 20 minutes. So I know we said 1 hour, but you guys have been so awesome, and everyone's doing so amazing and having so much fun. So if you would like to stay for an additional 20 minutes, just stay and hang out. And that's pretty much it.
And bring the drinks.
My vocal cords are a little strained, so I'm not really sure.
You're past the 3 mark?
Yeah, I need a little break, and a little water. I got to be careful. Mary trained me well. I got to take breaks.
How many push-ups are your kids up to at this point?
How many push-ups? 928.
All right.
Another thing. If you could,
As many episodes as we did.
If you could explain.
Believe it. All right, sorry.
Believe it. If you could explain to some of our guest actors here and director who RDC is, and they're all here. They're the guys that organized the whole convention. Say hi, you guys.
Oh, there he is, right
trying to unmute them. Hold on.
Okay.
Where was the convention?
There we go.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. So, tell us who you are and what you do, because it's pretty interesting. This is how they roped us into their convention, which seemed really
we started, just making all types of videos, mostly centered around anime. So even though it's more than just anime, it's gaming, it's regular comedy videos in general. So when we thought to put together DreamCon, we wanted it to be anime, gaming, comics, and everything, just like our videos. So we wanted them to kind of coincide together. So that's why we made DreamCon, and just put all this together. So, and I want to thank everybody for being a part of the convention, helping it grow and everything like that. Thank y'all.
Well, let me be the first to say real quick, I watch your videos all the time. I have a Facebook group, and I get people submitting your videos all the time, and I can't resist them. You guys do phenomenal work, man. It's awesome.
I appreciate it. We appreciate it. We try to focus on all the videos and just work. We work a lot, actually.
I mean, you work hard to have fun. That's what it comes down to. And brother, I appreciate it. I understand it. Good looking out. You guys do phenomenal work.
What's your Instagram or Twitter or YouTube channel? How do we check them out?
Yeah, on YouTube we're RDC World 1, and then on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook we're Supreme Dreams _1.
Supreme Dreams.
Supreme Dreams _1.
Yeah, Supreme Dreams or RDC World 1. You can look
Type that in the chat.
Have Jay type it.
Okay.
Maybe Jay, you could type it in the chat.
I'm on it.
So wait, is Mary Rock Lee?
No, it's Brian.
Or
What?
Rock Lee?
Brian Donovan.
Oh,
Right.
Brian Donovan.
Where's Brian at?
Right here. What's up, guys?
Right next to you.
You see me right here, top corner.
Oh, there
Hey man, I love Rock Lee. I love doing that speech. I don't know how to do that speech so well. You know, when Rock Lee was losing cigar in a fight, I just love saying that speech all the time. It's literally my favorite thing in the world.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, here, this is for you. Leave Hurricane!
And somebody asked me, we're going to leave in a minute to, we already put our kids' dinner up for a little while. So
Yeah, we
we're gonna
totally
have to
did.
get
Wait, are you Sasuke?
But somebody
Yes, he is.
Somebody said they wanted to hear Sasuke and Naruto. Do you think you want to shout it out a little bit, Maile? You got it in
Yeah,
there?
you start.
Please do that.
Okay, ready? Here we go. Naruto! Sasuke!
Give it up.
Hey, can I get a Lions barrage from Sasuke, please? Just a one Lions barrage.
That is awesome.
Sasuke, hear me?
Yuri, give him a line.
What?
Your line.
Yuri, you have a request for a line.
What's the line?
Lions barrage.
Oh, Lines Barrage?
Yeah.
Here you go. I'll give you a couple.
Okay.
Lions Barrage! Susano!
Here, I'll give you one.
Great. Y'all are amazing.
I'll give you
all
one.
the work y'all did for Naruto too. Thank y'all.
Sasuke sucks.
That's my favorite line.
It's not a show. I just
this is basically a question for the whole cast. Like, how does it feel to be a part of like such a big show like that? How does that feel?
It doesn't suck.
So great. I mean,
We're all so glad it made us rich.
Wait a minute. Who's that?
Y'all love it yourself though. Like, do y'all actually like really love the show?
I do.
Yeah. The character. I love playing the character. I love Minato. I just find him interesting. Yes, I am. I just find him interesting. I love his layers, the levels he's living in. Even though the fact that he's dead when the series starts, he still has an arc. He still evolves. He still grows, and at the end, really kind of brings things together. And I just love this guy. And he kind of crept into my life, and now is a kind of a permanent part of it. And I'm glad. So
one of these
I
days
love being a mentor to Naruto. I love the range of drama to comedy, especially when it goes to extremes with the face and the head getting big and the nosebleeds, which Mary had to explain to me. I didn't know what that meant. And also, just looking out for the kids. It's a great thing. And I love Maile, and I just have a love for her, and as Iruka Sensei, for Naruto, that friendship, that bond. There's a show I used to watch as a child that affected me. It was called The Courtship of Eddie's Father.
Oh, yeah.
There was another one called Family Affair, and there was just that father-son role model thing going on that I didn't have growing up, but that I loved from TV, that you guys get from this show, and we all have that love together, and so I think it's a beautiful thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I started off as Kurenai before I was directing, and then about a month later, they said, "Would you like to direct?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." So I started, seeking it out online, and I couldn't stop. And one weekend, I watched 45 episodes before I started directing, and I just fell in love with these characters. I mean, for me, I'm a Harry Potter kind of girl, and so for me, it was Harry Potter and Ninja Land, because there were so many different characters, and I just thought everybody has to relate to at least one of these characters.
That's why I like
I'm going to interrupt really quick. We can all finish answering that question, but Yuri and Tara, I think they have to leave.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, we gotta go.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you guys so much.
You guys.
What's your Twitter handles?
Yeah. Do you want to plug anything before you go?
Plug away.
Plug where your fans can find you.
Twitter, Yuri Lowenthal, Platt. Instagram, Yuri Lowenthal, Platt. That's where you find us.
And next weekend we're doing a Naruto signing. Online.
We're doing online signing.
We should be getting the link in the next 24 hours, I think, and then we'll start.
Yep.
We'll blast it out.
I'll be a part of that too.
Some of the cast hasn't found out about that and wants in on that.
Just email us because it's happening next weekend.
Okay.
Awesome.
We love
Thank you
guys.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Guys, you've been awesome.
Bye,
Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Man,
Awesome.
2 words. They never leave.
2 words. Yeah.
Paris,
such
so
a
difficult to deal
Brian,
with.
talk about the challenge of not being able to contract anything, because we started with Rock Lee in a video game, and one of the producers of the game that had nothing to do with the series said, oh, wouldn't it be cool if Rock Lee never contracted anything? And then we were like,
yeah,
and the writer
it was
never remembered, and it was just
it was brutal. In fact, I had a hit on that guy for a while, but they couldn't find him. I mean, it was really tough. I mean, you were by my side for the first many years, and again, it goes back to the way I speak. I don't speak that way at all, not even close. In fact, my wife doesn't understand me half my life. So to be that formal in my speech, and also to remember, as you say, a lot of the writers forgot, and so we'd be in it, and between the two of us, we were pretty good at catching them all. But every once in a while, we'd forget, and I'd say, you or I would say, something doesn't sound right, and they're like, oh yeah, it's because I said it's instead of it is. But yeah, I mean, no one talks like that. So it was hard. It was a constant challenge. I mean, even, we talk about the development of our characters and all of that. That for years was a very conscious thing. And so it was hard to kind of get lost in, because one of the beauties of really getting into a character is when you just get lost in it and you don't have to be conscious of, the choices or what you're saying, anything. You're just in it. And so that was really hard because for years I wasn't necessarily in it, I wasn't in my pores because of that. And so that was a really, really challenging thing. But yeah, I mean, we found it, but it was hard. But, I will say, one of the questions I think was, at what point did your character, where did you find your character? At what point did you your character made the shift? I mean, there's a couple monumentous moments in the series, obviously, for Rock Lee, but one of the ones I remember so vividly was, the Shikamaru fight in the Drunken Fist, and that was when you let me, just go, and it was so awesome because, again, and that's where a great director comes in, like Mary, because Mary knew within, because there's parameters, no matter how broad it is, as Quinton said, the drama and the comedy, but there's always parameters that you're creating in a show. And so Mary was a remarkable barometer that way, going, okay, this is where we can go. And for that particular scene, the Drunken Fist or the Loopy Fist or, the broadcast version, we had so much fun that day because she said, let's go for it, and she just gave me the freedom, and she even pushed me further, and then let's bring it, let's try this, and so that was a blast. And those are the moments you live for as an actor. They're fun. You discover a lot, and obviously for the character of Rock Lee and the development of Rock Lee, that was instrumental, right? Because I mean, Rock Lee would go as formal as he was without the contractions. He would just go on these crazy emotional, that we all know and love about Rock Lee. And so, yeah, and that was fun. But again, Mary was instrumental in sculpting that with me and helping me find the high and the low ends of Rock Lee.
Awesome.
So thank you, Mary.
I love you, Brian.
I love you.
I want to jump on to my man Tom, because we haven't heard from him yet, and I want to talk about one of the most pivotal moments.
I've just been listening.
Was it? But the question is, was it a drag?
Yeah. It's a drag.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
So we're going to talk about the most pivotal moment in the Shippuden series, and that's the death of your sensei, Asuma Sensei, and that was one. Still, to me, that sticks to me. That out of everything aside from Jiraiya, that was one of the most pivotal for me. Can you talk about your experience with that and how did you prepare for that those scenes, especially we talked about this before too, on my show. The moment when you were with your father playing Go, and you got so upset you just knocked the whole entire Go table up. How did you prepare for that?
Well, sort of the beauty of what we do is you don't get a chance to prepare. You don't get the script sent to you ahead of time. I mean, you might be familiar with the series or the books, and you might know where the story is going, but you don't really get a lot of time to, if you're cast in a movie, you get the script and you go home and you memorize it and you start working it and learn it. And with this, you kind of walk in and it's like, oh, you're going to have a bad day today. But I'll tell you, I think, and Mary, you could probably agree with me on this, it gives a freshness to it because I'm experiencing the death of Asuma in real time.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know what's coming, and I'm like, oh no, this is going to go bad, isn't it? Between takes, I'm like, this is getting worse.
Yeah.
And then it happens. And so you're kind of living that moment as the character right while you're recording it. And it's, I think you can get some really beautiful performances out of people because you don't know what's coming ahead. You may think you do. I remember when we were doing the shooting exams, and I was trying to go like, oh, he's got something up his sleeve, like, here comes the shadow possession. Okay, he's going to do, and then I quit in the middle of it. Just raise my hand. I'm done. And it's like, oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. So you're kind of living along with it as it's happening. And then you get the honor to actually be the guy to do it, to perform it, to put it out there.
So you developed a form of empathy as time goes by with that. It was pretty much.
No, I think you start to know the character almost, obviously better than anybody. It's like 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's like with Mary, you get shorthand where it's like, because you both know what's going on. She gives you like, this is the setup. This is what happened 2 scenes before this scene. You're going to come into this. And then you can basically go because I kind of know Shikamaru so well that I can just sort of inhabit it and go.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, well, Mary's big criticism would be like, I'd rehearse on the mic and she'd go, don't rehearse. Your first take is your best take. Now knock it off because it's going to take 20 takes to get back there.
Right.
So just do it, So probably not every performer has that problem, but it's a good problem to have. And I think somebody had asked in I was reading some of the questions along, like, how does improv help? And I think improv helps because you're not improving. The script is there. It's written. Sometimes you have to write a little bit, rewrite in the booth to make it fit a little better, but that's it. You don't get to kind of go off on your own.
Yeah.
But where improv helps is that you can get there right away. You can go from laughing to crying in 2 seconds. You can go up, down, sideways. And because when you're in improv, you come in as a character and then you might come in as another character 2 seconds later. And so you have to learn to adapt and get there right away. And I'll tell you, with auditions and stuff, they don't have time for you to find your character.
Yeah.
You're either going to hit it and they go, that guy's close enough, and then we're going to zero it in, or thank you very much, on to the next one. We'll find a guy who can do it. And you don't know what they're looking for. So it really doesn't, you can't prepare. You just got to give it what you think is your best shot. And hopefully, that's close enough that then they can feel they can work with you and fine tune it,
Right.
So, but that's where improv can help because to be able to roll with the punches. Maile, you would probably agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom and I
did improv
professionally together 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had to teach me the box step or whatever.
Somebody need class again.
I'm the musical theater kid.
I'm sure we, at one point in our improv, were playing husband and wife.
It had to have happened.
It had to have happened.
Wait, did y'all have an improv name?
Well, we were part of a company called Dudley Riggs in Minneapolis.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Kind of like Second City or,
Right.
That's the version. It's a long-standing organization. It's great. Great training.
Yeah, very good.
Awesome. So
where improv doesn't help you is pronouncing some of the Japanese words.
I am the absolute worst.
Mary, can you
like say it in my ear and I have to.
No, dude, no. I'm the worst. Mary, who's the worst? I'm the worst. We would be flying on a session, and all of a sudden they would, you know, they would crush. And it got to the point where they started writing around Rock Lee having to say any Japanese. It was so, the session would be going bam, 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 bam. And all of a sudden, I got it. What? How do you do? I have zero ear, as Mary will attest. Yeah, and so the whole session would shut down. And God love Mary, she would say the word probably 73 times before I even got close. And then another 100 before I actually maybe got, you know, broadcast quality. Yeah, it was brutal, and brutal for Mary. My apologies, Mary.
We did one game, and I think it was one of the first games that we did, and one of the actors not present had to say, and you can sell these coins at Naruto's house. Like, okay, 3 in a row, you know, it's just like, and you can sell these coins at Naruto's house. And I'm like, no, it's Naruto's house. Okay, Naruto's house. On for 10 minutes.
Don't keep saying that, because that's going to imprint in our heads.
Naruto's house. I mean,
I do remember a session where Mary said, "Can you hear what I'm saying?" I said it exactly the same way. Like,
yeah.
I thought I was adjusting. It was like,
is the mic on? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's a Saturday Night Live sketch that's like that, where it's like a Doritos ad, and the kid goes, "I love Doritos," and they go like, "No, say it like this: I love Doritos," and he's like,
I saw that.
"I love Doritos," and it's like, no, but it's always the same. The director's saying it the same way, the actor's saying it, and it's not right. It's not right. It's not right.
That's every commercial.
Well, you get that from the clients too.
That's the
you
way
get
it
that from the
feels.
clients too, because I've had notes from the client that says, "Oh no, it's not yokai, it's yokai."
Yes, exactly.
You said the same
Dude,
thing.
That was every session for me, man. I remember doing
You had a couple Narutos, Brian. You did.
I did.
You grew out of many a Naruto.
I did.
You thought you were talking about the band Menudo.
I am naked and bare here. You can tell them all the stories of my foot. Yeah, I mean, it's been the bane of my existence as an actor, because I remember when I did a milk commercial, one of my first jobs, I used to say milk. I mean, that's how I said it growing up, milk. And the director was like, "No, it's milk. You got it, milk." And I was like, milk. And he's like, "No, it's milk." I mean, it was the fucking Doritos thing. Excuse me. Well, am I saying it wrong? Like, I didn't hear it at all. And he's just like, "No, it's milk." I was like, "No, milk. Milk." Ah, man. I was like, "Please, God, you just, you know, I'm sorry. Can I just not say it? Can we just not do, like, let's not do a milk commercial today. Let's just not." Man. And I did a 90210, and I had to say Commandant, and that stumbled me. God.
You got it right today.
I did, but it took me 22 years.
See, there you go. It's all about timing.
Yeah, and look at the progression of my character as Brian Donovan. It's amazing the growth I've had.
I just wanted to add to some of the fans out there something you may not know. You know, Tom really nailed it with the improv for us to have flexibility to be able to work with the director. There's also in anime, because we're dubbing, we have to have musical timing and rhythm, and it's really important. In addition to which, I had times with Mary, many times, where there were words that were written that didn't time out. So oftentimes we would come up with things together, we'd practice things, we'd try things until something fit, something that worked. So it's a beautiful collaborative process. There's so much to it. Again, acting, improv, musicality, rhythm.
Rewrites.
Lots of rewrites. Well, the thing is that it was always our goal to make it look like it was animated for English and not Japanese. And you can tell if we have the time and the money to be able to do that, it really makes a difference. It really, really makes a difference.
Except the broadcast versions.
Yeah.
I hated those.
I hated them too.
Anybody out there, just, you know, always be willing to learn. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Make room for yourself wherever you are in your life. I still do that today. If I don't know something, I'll ask, because someone's only too happy to help you, to answer, to teach you.
Right.
If you're afraid of looking stupid, well, guess what? That's how I used to feel growing up.
Yep.
Anymore? No. I want to know. If I don't know, let me know, and that's how we work together. So
yeah,
I don't think I would have met Maile if I didn't do that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, make the reach.
Yeah.
You know? If you don't
the
ask,
key
you don't
is
get.
sort of taking charge of your own education and all of this, you know. I mean, somebody in the chat said, how basically do you get into this? And there's so many great teachers out there. Steve Blum has bloomvoxstudios.com that you can go check out, BLUMVOXstudios.com, and he's got a whole series of classes. And Steve came from, like, I did a lot of classical theater. I got an MFA in acting. I was too scared to get out in the world. Steve came from a purely organic way. So it's an amazing thing to try as many different teachers as possible, because you're going to get things that is right for you from every teacher you go for. Not everything will be right, but you latch onto something and go, that resonates with me. I'm going to take that and use that. And then, that resonates with me. I'm going to take that and use that as well.
Every actor that's made it in this business has come through a different path.
Right.
And so you're going to be taking little bits and pieces from life and from formal lessons that hopefully you'll be able to incorporate and find your own voice. The idea is really to be able to find that authentic voice that makes you unique from everybody else in the industry.
And I can speak and endorse Steve right now. I have a friend who's in his class, and he says only great things about it. Things that he learns from you as well. Yeah, he absolutely loves you.
Well, tell him thank you for me.
Absolutely, will do. I got 2 more questions, and after that, we're going to go straight to chat and just go on from there. So you guys that are listening right now, get ready, start typing some really good questions, and we'll be right with you on that. I have questions for both Tony and Quinton. You guys are the father figures of Naruto. Between the two, you two are going to have to fight this off yourself.
Dad.
Say it again.
I'm a dad.
Well, all right, yeah, now you are. But
now you are.
No, father to you.
That was Shikamaru.
Rephrase that. They're father figure to you.
I secretly call you Maile.
And that's still up for debate, because I haven't seen all the rest of the episodes of Boruto yet.
They're not out.
Oh God.
Exactly. But between the two, who do what do you think? Who were the bigger influence to Naruto? Even though Minato came in later on, I still believe that he, even though he was a short stint, he brought in a big impact to his growth.
Well, no, I don't agree at all. I think
he's a deadbeat.
Because he left. I mean, he started it all, but what he did is he came back towards the end to kind of cap it. But everyone in between that time is what it helped create and make Naruto who he was, who he is.
But he had his reasons too that we find out.
Sure, of course he had his reasons. But the influence, the day-to-day influence over the course of his life was not Minato. Minato was the little bit of exclamation point, but but I think that's about it.
Well, so you would definitely put the pointer on Jiraiya and
absolutely
more than anything, Iruka Sensei.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
we have a winner.
It was tough love too. It wasn't always sweet and kind love. I mean, you really you'd call Naruto on when he was being a jerk. I mean, really good about that. At least the character was, and you played him so beautifully, Quinton.
Yeah. No, Naruto is the spirit of my 16-year-old teen year. Plain and simple.
Yeah, everyone comes up to me and they say, "You were my childhood." Someone said it in the chat too, and which is kind of weird, especially if you're in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have to explain this, people. But the most often I get it, I tell this at conventions, is like when I'm in an Uber usually, and which I haven't taken obviously because we're in quarantine here. Yeah. And the driver's like, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, "Waco, Texas for DreamCon," and they go, "Oh yeah. You a big fan?" And I'm like, "No, I'm an actor." Usually they don't start the conversation because it goes down a road that sometimes it's 5 a.m. and I just don't want to talk. But so, then they're like, "Well, what do you do? You're a writer?" That's the first question always. "You're a writer?" I'm like, "No, I'm an actor." Who do you voice? And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I don't know if you watch anime or not, but I mean, I've done other acting jobs, but that's where I go to, especially if I see a certain age range." I'm like, So then I'm like, "Well, have you heard a character named Naruto?" "Yeah." And I'm like, I'm Naruto. And they're like, what? And then they always turn around, which is why I don't answer them. Because I'm afraid I'm going to die. And no, people don't recognize me for my voice. But now, because of YouTube and people taping all our panels at conventions, I get recognized more than I used to get recognized.
I got recognized at Disneyland.
Did you really?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's purely from going to conventions and stuff like that because I'm not an on-camera actor at all.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was a weird thing, and my family went, "Really? Here?" Going back to the old question, that question about family.
So Miley and I got recognized at a play once.
Oh, really?
We were in line waiting to get in, and there's a group of friends going to see this play. Our friend Mo Collins was in the play, and two skateboarders were coming by. And I think you got them first, right, Miley? They you said something, and they went. And then she goes, and this is Shikamaru.
This is Shikamaru. I mean, this is Shikamaru. And then they really freaked out. That happened to me at the movies the last time I went to the movies. The three guys who were waiting to clean up, like they were like, Naruto, man.
What about the trick-or-treaters, Miley? The trick-or-treaters.
Okay, so here's my trick-or-treater story. So one year, in the kind of very beginning stages of this, we always have some friends over and they help us hand out candy, especially if we live in apartments and stuff. And we make chili and a lot of margaritas. And so my friend who may have had a margarita or two, somebody dressed like Naruto, or maybe a couple kids came up and they trick-or-treated, and she said, this is Naruto, it's her house. And they're like, no, it isn't, man, no. And she's like, yeah, it is, come on in. I was like, and they asked me for swag, and especially in the beginning, I never went to conventions because I was busy doing on-camera stuff. And so I didn't really have anything. I dragged out a couple cards, and they were like, prove it. I'm like, I'm in my own house having margaritas. 12-year-old. And so then they were cool. You know, I gave them the cards. And like an hour later, like 40 kids showed up at my door. They're like, you're Naruto! And I was like, I'm going to kill you.
And those kids are now 27.
Shut up, Tom! Older than that.
They tell her every day,
you're right.
say believe it, say believe it.
Believe it!
Yeah. No, they call you every day now asking for that, right?
Yeah, they do.
Steve, there was a request for a reanimation jutsu from Orochimaru.
I don't remember how to do it. Was I yelling? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, watch your ears.
Reanimation jutsu!
Sorry.
Nice.
Nice.
Usually speak more softly.
So my last question before we go into the chat questions is for Mary. Mary, you directed a lot. Obviously, it's been said many times that you are the heart of this show. You have directed a lot of these shows and helped them out greatly with what they were doing and the quality and such. You worked on ADR as well. What were some of the biggest hurdles that you had to do directing and trying to translate the Japanese style into an American culture?
Oh, yeah, that's hard. Well, some shows like Cowboy Bebop, we could completely adapt it to a Western culture because it was really sort of animated. The story aligned itself with that. But Naruto Viz really wanted us to be like just married to the manga. Yeah. So we wanted it, and they wanted it to sound like the Japanese, which was great because I think Jamie Simone did the casting on it. So we got all the actors to basically sound like Yuri sounds like the Japanese actor who plays Sasuke. And so the key is always trying to make sure that we make it our own as much as we can. But again, those parameters that Brian was talking about, there are always parameters, whether it's, the timing of the line or how the producers want the show, because they kind of left us alone until we would get pickups and I'd get really mad. I'm like, I don't want to pick that up. It was perfect,
Right.
So with Naruto, it was always, for me, it wasn't even about making it westernized. It was just about making the characters and guiding the actors to make it as real as possible within the parameters of this world, which was sort of an extremely wonderful, odd, dark place. You know, I
Right.
mean, at times it got really silly, lots of sexy jutsus and finger butts things. And
Oh, I forgot about that.
and the really serious stuff, like when Shippuden started, it was just like, oh, we're going there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. And everybody was willing to dive in, which was great. So it's a testament to the casting, because this cast was fantastic.
And it's a testament to you too, because I mean, it really shows all, I mean, you've done a hell of a job with this show. I used to tell people when I compare Naruto to Shippuden, especially to that, I compare it to every primetime TV show that we see, like even Grey's Anatomy and all the stuff. Like, there's some subject matters in this show that will match up. It's on prime time. People don't come back.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's some real social issues in this thing that people can relate to. So I commend on, like, not only just Japan, but what you guys have done to adapt it and assimilate it into our culture as well. So thank you.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, good themes: sibling rivalry, prejudice, persecution,
absolutely,
jealousy. That's in all of us, you know. So it doesn't matter whether it's coming
and
from
representation.
And absolutely representation. And it's not just in a Japanese culture thing. It very much applies to everything. And that's the heart of being a human. And all of us have these human trials and tribulations that just come up in our genetic code, you know, so that way we can all relate to it. So I was grateful to have these amazing actors that were willing to jump off the cliff with me and play in that dark pool, you know, I mean, in a very scary place at times.
All of you made a match made in heaven.
Well, I'll say, oh, sorry.
Brian's got to sign off, you guys.
Yeah, I just want to say two things really quick, because that brings up a really interesting, remarkable thing. And I'm going to just shout Mary out one last time, because the first episode, the relationship between Rock Lee and Guy Sensei, I thought was really abusive. And so I was really troubled by it. I'm a very sensitive man. And so I was really, really struck by how I thought it was abusive, and I thought I was just uncomfortable with it. And I told Mary, I said, Mary, this doesn't feel right to me, and I don't know where this is going, and I don't really want to condone this kind of relationship. And Mary talked me off the cliff, and she said, you know, I've seen enough ahead. I see where it goes, and you know, trust me on this one. And so, you know, those things, I mean, back to like the deeper issues and the things that, you know, you reference, like the show hitting on these things. I mean, that's a very, you know, that relationship between Guy and Rock Lee is complex. Even in its comedy is complex. And so, you know, I want to thank Mary, because honestly, you know, I wouldn't have gone on this 12+ year journey without her talking me off the cliff, you know, that day, going, maybe this isn't for me. But I'm so glad I did, for all the reasons I mentioned very early on in this meeting. I do have to sign off because my kids have finished their 1,000 push-ups. but I just want to say in closing, on a personal note, because a lot of you guys are young, you do not be afraid, especially because you're young, to ask for help. Quinton alluded to it earlier. Believe in yourself. And if you believe in yourself, just even a crumb, and you show someone that you believe in yourself and that you have dreams and a passion for something, they will want to help you. There are cheerleaders out there. Find the right ones, because there's some nefarious characters in the world, as we know. But find cheerleaders. Believe in yourself. Not to call back, Miley. You don't have to say anything. But really, truly, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I've seen dreams come true. And it can happen to you, as this song goes.
If you're young at heart.
There you go. That was your cue. Thank you, Quinton, for coming in.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having
me. Love you, Brian.
Brian, where can people find you, real quick?
Yeah, it's you can find me on Insta, Brian Donovan _1. And I actually have my first virtual signing for Naruto next Friday and Saturday. So I'll do a little post on that, but if you're interested, go nuts. And then I'm actually doing a Funko signing too, because I don't know if you know, but Rock Lee's little Funko just came out like 10, 11 days ago. So yeah, there's a company, Puppeteer, I think. They're going to be doing those too. I'm not a big seller. I don't like to push that kind of stuff, but I do know that you guys enjoy it. So if you are interested, have at it. You can also watch my documentary on Amazon Prime, Kelly's Hollywood, which is all about dreams coming true. So it's a nice boost, especially in this environment that we're living in. So you guys, thank you again for having me. I honestly, when I look around, especially you guys for DreamCon, and when you four were in that little little box on my Zoom grid. That's right, you guys, DreamCon. That lights me up. So thank you for all your smiles and your passion for anime, and hopefully we can see each other in person in Waco next year. Thanks again, you guys, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Love you, Brian.
Good to
Thank
see
you so much,
everyone.
man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.
All right, so we're going to leave the rest to you guys. We're going to open up the chats. Jay, if you don't mind, you can start putting out the questions and have a ball.
All right. Let me unmute.
Just going to sit back here right now.
You have to do the anime.
Yeah, exactly.
Just one hand.
Wait, do I got to close my eyes in like arrogance?
It was Liam O'Brien who plays Gara. He was like, he said, "Oh my God, I've been recording way too much anime lately," because he got up from a chair. And this is 15 years ago, and he went, I'm 27. I'm like, you don't need to make a noise every time you get up off a chair, but in anime you do, because their mouth is open. So you're always like,
You get to my age and you get stuck. It's like, Nani? Oh, no.
So what questions y'all have out there?
So one of the questions more recent from Getting Animated podcast, they said, do you ever find yourself speaking in your character's voice during your everyday life?
Doing it right
or
now.
maybe their mannerisms, something like that.
I play a lot of different characters, so no, it would be I would end up seriously being hospitalized with medication.
Multiple personalities.
Yeah, no, not really, but it's fun to play with for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Miley.
well, the next question you pick, let's unmute the person who it is.
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
Oh man, that's pressure. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to William just asked the question. William, are you on? You're not even on video.
No, forget him.
I'm ready. I'm gonna pick someone on video.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's a good question, though.
Okay. I'm unmuting.
All right. Hello.
Uh-oh.
How you doing today? Oh, I'm unmuted.
Okay.
Hey.
Hello.
Who is it?
I closed my eyes and I picked someone. So there we go.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm from Land Party Podcast. How y'all doing today?
Good.
Good. You're doing voiceover with that voice.
Yeah.
No.
I did have a question. The question was, who do you feel was a bigger role model in Naruto's life? Would it be Kakashi, Jiraiya, or Iruka?
Iruka, for sure.
Not being biased by any chance, you know?
I'll let Quinton answer that.
Yeah. Hands
I
down.
think, honestly, no offense, Quinton, we're still
None
best
taken.
buddies.
I love you, babe.
Uh-oh.
I think Jiraiya.
Yeah.
That's my answer. But I think all of them, it's sort of like if you grew up without a dad or you grew up with a big family that was supportive, and you have 3 uncles or something, or, whatever,
that's
your
fair.
best friend's dad or something. So I think you can have multiple people, but I would go with Jiraiya out of the 3.
Well, Jiraiya was as much of a child as you were. I mean, the two of you pretty much grew up together, it seemed like at times.
Yeah, he was immature.
And you became the father at times too, which was sort of the first time that it happened with that relationship, in comparison to Kakashi and Iruka Sensei. So
that's right.
And now Naruto is a father and not doing a great job of it.
Because Naruto never minded his elders.
Let's do another. Want to do another?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
What else you got, Jay?
All right. I'm closing my eyes and
Drum roll.
Oh, there we go. Trinice.
Where is she?
Miss Johnson?
Oh no, your mic. We can't hear you.
You guys hear me?
She got it. She got it.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. Okay. So I know some of you might have theater background and stuff. I'm actually going to college in fall for theater and performance. So I'm into like voice acting and speech. Thank you. So I just want to ask, like, when you first started, like, how did you go about getting your roles and things like that? Because I'm like literally one of those actors that like search casting calls like all the time and stuff. So
that's what you have to do. This is one of those businesses where you have to, you have to find a little hole and wiggle in, and then keep wiggling until you make yourself find your way in. The way that most people get auditions these days in voice acting is through referrals. Is through you have a friend, people that you network with, who then they get cast and they ask somebody. I get a phone call all the time. Hey, I need somebody like this, and we refer them. And that's really where most of the people get started with it. It's tough. You got to knock on a lot of doors, and you got to ask a lot of questions, and you got to meet people and network, and eventually, hopefully, if you're lucky, you get a shot at trying something out.
Yeah, I hear there will always be like a lot of no's.
Mostly no's. Mostly no's.
Mostly no's.
Yeah, you got to toughen up. You've got to be prepared for like 95 to 98% rejection all the time. But you're going to college, and I'm like, take everything. Take things that you don't even think, you know, I mean, like art history. I mean, everything that you take will influence your performance. Everything. So, you know, take journalism, take radio broadcasting, take costume design, anything that you possibly can that can enrich and round you out as a human being. I just
and
say
running a small business.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that's what you are as an actor. You are a small business, and you are the product that you sell.
And make sure you collect your taxes and write them down. Tax write off everything.
But it sounds like you're on the right track, and that's following, educating yourself and having sort of a framework of that in the theater. I think it's a great. It'll give you a lot of opportunities. Whether you follow voiceover eventually, you may not end up there. You may end up somewhere else. But I think having sort of that going to college, it's great. Good for you.
And the basis of
I really
the basis
believe in it.
of all of this, the basis of all of the stuff that all of us do comes from theater, all of it. So you're in the right track.
Steve Martin.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. Said in his master class, the most important thing to do at this stage is to get good. Just really concentrate on working on your skill set. Have fun with it. Be creative. Enjoy the creative process at every single level, and take the pressure off of yourself to get booked right away. That will come with time, but just concentrate on really, really enjoying it and doing it because you love to do it. More important than anything
I
else.
do.
That's the most important thing, right? You're so young. You're just getting started. Just enjoy the process. And the trick really to getting hired for all of us, I think, was just being ready when that opportunity came, so that you can do it. A lot of people try to push themselves out there before they're ready. They have that opportunity and they fail, and it breaks your spirit a little bit, and then you have to get back up and start over again. That's going to happen too.
Yeah.
But as best you can, just enjoy this creative process that you're in right now, and look at it like that at every stage of your career, and then the opportunities will present themselves.
And if I could just say one more thing, Tom brought up a really, really good point. I came out to LA to be on Star Trek, which led me into voiceover, which led me into directing. So be open to the opportunities that are presented to you by the universe. As you are in hot pursuit of this voiceover career, you might get diverted into something else that you didn't expect. And that might make you feel like you've just been shot out of a cannon, and you're just like, I'm okay to let that go, because this is really what I want to do, and where I found my home. So just be open to the opportunities, to all opportunities. You know?
Definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Exciting. Wow.
All right, Jay, what you got? Oh.
I put the link for Steve's classes in the chat.
Thanks, man.
And he always teaches, has been teaching remotely, teaches adults from, my God, from kids to, what was the eldest member of his class is like maybe 70 or something. Wow. And they're in Sweden and everywhere. And so you can take his classes, and it's really informative. And some of us have been guests on the class, lecturers. So if you find yourself not being able to go somewhere in person because of this quarantine or whatever, it's a really good class, and you'll get I think, as much out of it as, it's not always as much as you get in person, but it's a lot and it's good. And voiceover is one of the things that all of us are so fortunate to have, because, I do on camera too, and there's no work because of the quarantine in Los Angeles.
I ever thought voice acting would be the safe job to have.
Right?
Yeah, how about that?
And on that note, I think Dax was going to ask us about what our current working conditions were, right?
Absolutely, because Steve, you can attest to this, because whenever I watch Toonami, and when you watch what is it, My Hero, there's a disclaimer up that says, due to COVID-19 and everything, there is all of the talented actors out there are doing their best to get their voices out there, to get this episode out there. I don't know if you guys have seen it. When I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I guarantee you I knew half of these people there in their closet right now doing these voice shows.
Yep. I did.
So
I did a video game session yesterday. I had to do that in my booth.
Oh, wow.
In a closet, in a closet booth. Yeah.
Is that a motion?
It's a facial capture.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that deep.
There's a tech sitting outside my front door running the session.
Oh my God. Wait, put it back up.
Oh, here.
That is amazing. I had no idea it was that deep.
And that's in my little closet studio.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see that, but
how are everybody else? Well, I see Tony has his.
Well, this is a picture of my booth. It's a virtual background, but yeah, I was caught with my pants down on this one. I had to scramble and.
I beg your pardon.
And get a booth.
Nobody wears pants anymore.
Well, no, I don't have to. But
I'm not getting up.
But fortunately, I have my wife. I just joking to my wife. Maybe you like to build things. Why don't you build me a booth? Because I can't build anything. And she said, okay. And she built me a sound booth. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Wow. It's soundproof. It's wonderful. I'm working out of it. So it's nice to be at home working.
Never let her go.
And from here, I'm where I'm sitting right now is where I direct from. So I'm able to direct from home as well.
Wow.
So it's been nice. It's harder. It takes longer. There's more technical issues that come into play. But thank God we can do this, because the way things going, looks like we're going to be doing this for a while.
Unfortunately,
Fortunately, it's been available to all of us, and but it also has taken a little bit of investment for some of us to just go, okay, we're going to do this professionally. We gotta step up now. And so it's good and bad at the same time.
as far as
there is good and bad.
Tommy, you were saying.
Working voiceover is one of the safest things, I think, in Hollywood. I mean, I think just the way the studios are set up at Studiopolis, it's like, you have the directors in one booth. It's got a separate door, and then there's a separate door for the actors, and it'd be a question of how you clean the space between actors or whatever. But I think, as far as Hollywood goes, it's got to be the safest thing you could do. So not only can we kind of work from home, and to put a button on, I've been trying to improve my home setup, and I know Maile, we've been going back and forth and sharing notes and stuff, and I'm nowhere near what it needs to be, but I'm tweaking, and I'm taking Miley's advice, which is like do like 1 or 2 or what is it, 3 things a day.
3 things a day.
Yeah, 3 things a day, and mine's usually an Amazon purchase.
That wasn't in my 3 things, Tom.
2 things, and then I purchased 1 thing for my shed project, and just kind of work that way. So,
but what you guys, oh yeah, it's good for everybody. Oh, okay. So anyway, so 3 things a day. When I teach classes, I don't know where I got this from. It's been so long since I've lived here, like 25 years. But when I moved here to Los Angeles, I said, I'm going to do 3 things a day for my career. And without fail, even if I was like deathly ill, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to watch this cartoon in a genre I don't like a
anime.
No, not Lisa. No,
So wrong.
Peanut gallery here. But like like, pre-K. I don't have a kid that's pre-K, but you have to know how to do it, right? Or like fantasy, a fantasy movie, like something like that, stuff that I'm not really drawn to. So I would do that, or at the time I would write a letter, or, but I had to do 3 things a day, and I did that for over 2 years at least, maybe 2.5, 3 years. Right. And I did them every single day, and it took a long time to get those first jobs. Yeah. But I did them. It would be go to a play, rehearse a play, read a scene from a play, do some dumb project, all for free, and so if you are out there trying to do this, I think it works for any.
Well, it's kind of like a self-efficacy technique, if I'm correct. Yeah. You write down what you want and you seek it, and you because I did that myself. My wife and I did the same thing. We went from our lightweight goals to our heavyweight goals, and they work, and we completed them all. So trust me, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no vision board person, but I do.
Yeah, that's too extravagant for me.
That's too much. Also, I'm not.
Here's the thing. One thing, like anime and recording anime is all cold read. You come in and you haven't had the script, so get really good at cold reading. And the easiest way to do that is pick up a book, open it up, and start reading it out loud. And start infusing it with a character. It doesn't matter which character. Make a strong choice and just start reading it out loud. And it doesn't matter whatever the book is. And that's a really good skill that you need to have as a voiceover actor. Even if you do get the script beforehand, you'll get changes. And you need to get really good at reading out loud and reading just right off the page, bringing something to life.
Mary, real quick, is it better to do so looking at yourself in the mirror, or just reading it itself?
Oh, you don't have to look in the mirror at all. Voiceover, if nobody's looking at you when you do voiceover, for the most part, everybody's looking down at the script. So that's the great thing about being a voiceover actor, is that it doesn't matter what you look like. It's just matters what you bring to the table and what you can do with this and what you can do with this.
Right.
So,
yeah, I give my students a lot of the same, the read the book, but almost everything has to do with reading. Anytime that you read, if you're reading like slowly to get your enunciation right, you can read slowly, really opening your mouth and doing that sort of thing. But always read, always continue. The biggest problem I have mostly with new actors, especially the ones that come to take my classes, is they sound like they're reading, and it's really difficult to get away from that. So that's the thing you can practice the most.
And a lot of people that come from the on-camera community are very concerned with how they look while they are performing. The beautiful thing about voiceover is it's important to feel like you're free enough to look stupid, because you're going to look really gross with some of the stuff that we have to do. Yeah. And just embrace that and know that you get to be a kid again and make those ridiculous faces. And you get paid for it. It's fantastic.
Or you get to act like you have diarrhea for a whole episode.
Exactly.
And get paid for it.
And get
paid for it.
That's the takeaway, everybody.
Yeah, right. Awesome. So we're going to wrap this up right now. Thank you guys so very much. Before we actually end everything, first of all, I want to say, Molly and the cast, thank you guys so much. DreamCon crew, definitely RDC World 1. You guys rock hard, man. I love what you guys have done. I want to get in touch with you guys very soon on an interview and all this stuff, but definitely thank you for what you're doing for the people, for down there in Texas. Much love down there. And just thank you guys for everything, man. The years of Naruto, how you are to the community. Molly, in particular, you just being a friend to me. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate you. I've always said this, you're an angel to me. I'm so glad that we reached out and cried the day that the election.
We all did.
Yeah, but that was the start of a long, great, close friendship right there. But nonetheless, I mean, thank you not only just for being an advocate of me, but an advocate to my community. And just, if you guys follow her on Twitter, and I highly recommend it, I call it it's MNN, Molly News Network. You will learn so much about what's going. I don't watch. It's TMZ and Molly's Twitter account. That's pretty much it. So, but no, thank you so much for being a fighter for us, for your community. You've just been awesome since then, and I can't thank you enough. And the whole entire cast. Tom, Mary, Steve, all of you, Quinton, Tony, Yuri and Tara who are in here, and Donovan. Just thank you all. You guys were awesome for us. And can I give a round of applause for the Naruto crew, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much. Show the hands. Thank you so much. And hopefully next year we can all come together as one and enjoy what we love so much. So thank you guys so much, and thank you for this opportunity. So
remember to vote. Vote.
Yes.
Vote,
Oh God,
vote,
thank you.
Yes,
vote.
please vote.
And wear a mask, ninjas, when you do.
Yes.
Okay.
So if anybody has anything to plug, Steve,
Any plugs or anything right now, please. This is now the time to do it.
parting thoughts?
Go ahead.
Yes, I just put in my Instagram handle there. It's Quinton Flynn 1.
Right.
If you guys want to reach out, I teach as well, and you're welcome to contact me there. I just think you're an extraordinary group of people, and Black Girls Anime, you're a stunner. I just see a star. My goodness.
Love the backdrop too.
The backdrop is on point.
Yeah, the backdrop's amazing.
The backdrop, yeah, I keep looking down there. It's like,
you know, I'm waiting for the wheel to turn. I want to win. I want to win.
Oh, she's a queen. Baby. She's a definite queen. When she's ready to rock it, she can rock it.
That's right. So I want to thank all you guys. I want to thank Maile and Lisa for putting this together, along with you, Dax and Jay.
Thank you.
Hosting this.
Yay, Lisa.
And reconnecting with everybody in our group. It's so nice to see you. I've not seen each other in months and months and months. So love you all.
Thank you so much, Quinn.
Thanks. I teach also. You can find me at adventuresinvoiceacting.com, and we have all sorts of teachers and stuff like that, and I teach classes, so that's good. And thank you guys so much. Thank you, Maile, for inviting me. This is great. I feel so welcome.
Yeah. What a party.
And thank you so much for watching the show and for hanging in there. And yeah, we'll all see each other again soon when we can do it safely. So thanks.
Indeed.
Wash your hands. Wear masks.
Wear a mask, watch your hands. And if you have any questions about voting, you can go to nerdsvote.com and it will get you registered if you're not for any reason whatsoever.
All you young kids, we need you more than ever. We need you more than ever.
Yeah. It's our world. Let's change it for the better.
Tom, you got anything?
No, I'm gonna go look
I'm gonna go take a crap.
If anybody's
doing
casting
that this whole
anything, I'll be
time.
home.
I want to say Steve, and then I want to say something.
Maile, thank you for telling us about this, and thank you guys so much for including us.
Oh, thank you.
We have really had a great time making the show, and we don't get to see each other either. So it's
Especially
wonderful
now.
to see your faces. We miss you guys out at the conventions, and to the crew that is hosting this. I'm not even sure who the hosts are for all of this, but thank you for doing this. What a beautiful community service you guys are doing. What was that? I couldn't hear you.
I said we'll definitely be reaching out to all you guys, and hopefully,
Oh, great.
Please do.
Meet in person, do this again.
Beautiful. Thank you. Stay strong, everybody, and support each other. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
And stay safe out there, guys.
Cherry Muffy, happy birthday. I just saw that in the chat. I just want to say thanks to you guys in Waco from DreamCon for inviting me and Brian. And thank you, Jay, for putting this together.
Thank you, Jay.
Yay!
Definitely. You did a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jack, for hosting. Thank you, Lisa Hammett. It was her idea.
Love you,
She
Lisa.
said, this sucks. These guys are so great. They put together this con, and it's a bunch of dudes that like put together. They have, she showed me your stuff, and I was so excited. And then when it got, and I was like, you get excited about conventions, but sometimes there's somewhere you're like, this one's going to be really fun. And so I was so looking forward to it. And I'm really happy that my other actors responded, the ones that had the time. And the ones that couldn't, they just couldn't because they have kids or they had other things. But I really want to thank you guys, the fans, a lot. We do appreciate it. I love that we got to chat with you guys. Maybe it won't be the last time, I hope. And Dax, special shout out for the moderating. And that's it. Just
thank you.
That was awesome, dude.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, thank you for, and while we're at it, if you guys want to hear more absolutely great talent like the people that you heard today. You can go to my website at talktimelive.com and check out my podcast, ACMG Presents Talk Time Live. You can also subscribe and download on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, everywhere, anywhere you want to find it, I'm there. So check out all of it. And you could go directly to the talktimelive.com/exclusive, which I put on the chat as well. You can check out all the interviews with Molly, Tom, and many others as well. And it's always a great time. And hopefully I can have some more of you down the road as well. So thank you all
Dax.
very much.
Thanks,
I
Dax.
am so humbled.
All right, guys.
And thank you, Lisa.
What about Jay? Jay.
Huh?
Jay, you got any plugs?
Oh, me? No. Well, DreamCon, our dates are, of course, we postponed. So in 2021, it's June 6th to 8th, Jonathan?
No, June 4th through 6th.
4th to 6th? Delete that.
We'll let it go. We'll let that one go.
Anyway, but no, just follow us. Go to dreamconvention.com for all those latest updates. And from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for coming. To the fans, to the panelists, like, this is awesome. And hearing that this is the biggest one that you guys have ever really done, even though it's virtual, is just amazing. So thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, folks, I'll wrap it up by saying my favorite.
Thanks, Smiley.
I will wrap it up by saying one of my favorite lines at the end of my show. On behalf of myself and the cast of Naruto Shippuden, all I got to say is learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games, and each other. This is the cast of Naruto from DreamCon. We're out of here. Have a good night, everybody. Be safe, mask up, and vote.
Woo-woo! Hi, everyone.
Take care.
Everybody.